Welcome to the Founders Letter. I reach out to founders and ask them to write a letter to someone who's not as far along in the journey as they are. I read it out loud, pull out the most important lessons, and then give you the next step. This is the letter, the lesson, the next step. Today's letter isn't from a business founder. In fact, it's not even a letter. I've gone completely rogue on this one, but stick with me because I think you'll get a lot out of it. This is Robbie Williams' acceptance speech at the 2025 AACTA Awards. He won Best Film for Better Man. And if you haven't heard it yet, it is a very short and not what you would consider normal acceptance speech. Instead of going on and thanking producers, managers, supporting actors, or the usual industry suspects, Robbie stood up on stage and thanked the things that nearly broke him. Addiction, dyslexia, depression, and every other insecurity that's chased him throughout his life. It was uncomfortable and hilarious, but beneath it was a brutally honest message that I think every founder will relate to in some way. And that's that sometimes our greatest demons shape our greatest work. Here's Robbie's speech. I would like to thank drugs, ADHD, depression, anxiety, dyslexia, dyscalculia, insomnia, dyspraxia, a lack of self-awareness, a lack of self-worth, a fear of social interaction, body dysmorphia, addiction, alcoholism, and a lower than average size penis, without which none of this film would have been possible. Obviously full of tongue-in-cheek humor, but when I heard this for the first time, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because underneath the comedy was the realization that every single thing he listed, every so-called flaw, is a part of the reason why Robbie Williams is Robbie Williams. And it made me think about the founders I work with. The same way Robbie's flaws fueled his art, the founders I work with, their flaws are often the fuel behind their business. The very things you're convinced disqualify you might actually be your superpowers. Robbie isn't just out there listing struggles, he's owning them publicly. He's saying, these aren't shameful footnotes, these are the raw materials of my art. Most people hide their flaws, or at very best, they tolerate them. Very few stand on stage, accept one of the biggest awards of their career, and thank them. Just by naming them, he takes control of the narrative. He doesn't let the critics define him. He defines himself. He's not saying, I made it despite these things. He's out there saying, I made it because of these things. It's not a pity speech. It's identity work, but in a public forum. And I think that's what caught my attention so strongly. So what does this mean for us founders? It means stop convincing yourself that your flaws are the thing that is holding you back, because they're not. If you think about it, maybe you hate being told what to do and you see that as stubbornness. But in reality, it's independence. It's the exact reason you built something nobody else had the guts to try. If you can't sit still, you call it restlessness. But it's why you constantly test, pivot, and spot opportunities that others miss. You overthink everything. You think it slows you down. In truth, it's the detail obsession that keeps your business alive when others cut corners. Maybe you're bad at networking or bad at playing politics. You worry you'll never fit in. And that's why people trust you. You don't waste time on bullshit. You just cut straight to what matters. You take things personally. You see it as oversensitivity. But it's also why your work has heart and why your customers feels like it's built specifically for them. Or you're impatient. You tell yourself it's a weakness, but the urgency drives execution while everyone else is still talking about their ideas. Founders who try to present a polished, flawless version of themselves end up just blending into the background. The founders who own their chaos, who lean into the parts of themselves they once thought were liabilities, they're the ones that create work that cannot be ignored. So here's your next step. Go and reframe your flaws into gratitude. Gratitude is usually reserved for wins, but here Robbie applied it to his wounds. Do the same. Write down your list. the flaws, the demons, the insecurities, and then flip them. Instead of thinking, despite this, you're thinking, because of this. Because once you own them, they stop being weights and they start becoming your weapons. And I did this exercise and I'm going to share with you two of my own. I'm impatient. I want momentum now. And that urgency, it pushes me past comfort zones, makes me test ideas really quickly, and it shows other people that movement matters more than perfection. I overcommit. I run a lodge, coach, I write, film, create content, I do big races, I travel, and yeah, sometimes it feels really chaotic. But it also gives me a perspective most people never can touch, and a bank of stories and lessons I can pull from. So, Robbie's speech was a reminder that greatness doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from being unfiltered. So if you're building something right now, stop asking, how do I get rid of this part of me? And start asking yourself, how do I build with it?